All right, good morning. I want to do another episode of, it's the playoffs, man. Got to ratchet these videos up with the optimistic Knicks fan. So, Knicks won the game last night. Pretty good, solid all around game. Detroit fought back, made it close. Knicks did make some blunders and putting the game away. So I'm gonna, I'm gonna get on the I'm gonna go to the negative before I go to the positive. Knicks had they cooled down from three. Jalen Brunson played a solid all around game. Did his thing. Got Azar Thompson in foul trouble, and for those, guys still see what they want when it comes to that. The fact of the matter is, Azar Thompson, while a great defender, is just not quick enough for Jalen Brunson. And again, obviously the book on Brunson is try to get physical with him. Try to do the hip check. Here's the problem. Here's the problem when you try to do the hip check. Azar Thompson was trailing Brunson most of the time. You can't use the hip. If you're gonna use the hip check, you have to beat a player to the spot. Azar Thompson wasn't doing that. I mean, when we had to challenge the offensive foul, it was clear that Azar Thompson was trailing Brunson, trying to use the hip check. You can't use it. That's not legal guarded position. Hip checking somebody from behind. That's like a block in the back in football. That's like, in hockey. In hockey, you can check a guy to the boards. I mean, you kind of gotta. I don't know if you can check him from behind. Like that's, I would have to watch a little bit more hockey, and guys who play on PlayStation. It's really a fun game to play on video. Actually, more fun than basketball. But anyway, certain things you can't do. You can't block a guy in the back. That's not legal guarding position. They give you 15 yards, 10 yards for blocking in the back. So it's like holding in football. So you have to be in a league, and that's the thing, right? When it comes down to you say to the foul man, if you're taking contact from playing not in legal guarding position, because I gotta put this whole Brunson stuff to bed. If you're taking contact from a guy that's not in legal guarding position, then you have the right to sell the call, because again, they're impeding your progress. At that point, Beasley came in. Beasley was in clean guarding position, but Azar Thompson wasn't and made illegal contact. We had to challenge that call, and that call should have been seen. It looked like the referee was looking at one thing, but you didn't see Azar Thompson. And again, that's where Azar Thompson picked up most of his fouls, trying to guard him without your hands, which some Pistons are getting away with guarding with their hands, but some are not. And I got shout out to JV Bickerstaff, because he's coached them well on how to guard as a team. But again, that matchup there with Thompson and JV Bickerstaff, to his credit, realized it. Like, you're not okay. Yeah, Azar can get more physical, but he's not quick enough to guard Brunson. I mean, and at that point, that's the one you wanted to take away. You didn't want to take away Bridges. You didn't want to take away. So down the stretch, you went with offense over the defense, and they went with Dennis Schroeder. Again, you went with Dennis Schroeder. You went with Tim Hardaway Jr. You went with Tobias Harris. So, with that, again, I got to put the whole Jalen Brunson foul bait, and the Knicks are getting too many calls. I mean, come on, these guys are not in legal guarding position, and they're making contact. That's not, that's not good defense. I gotta say, we did not put the game away, even though we were comfortably. We gave up that lead a little quickly in the fourth quarter. But we never really relinquished it, which is a good sign. And we had the 6-point lead. Free throws, they came back. Timmy hit a three. I think Beasley hit another big three, even though he was cold most of the night. He's at third. He made 50% in the game one, and now he's down to 30. So last night he was cold. He was pretty good in game two. So last night he was cold, but he did make that one of the last ones down the stretch. Cade made his shots. And, I challenged Karl Anthony Towns to score 4 points in every quarter. He had 31 for last night. I believe he had 4 points, at least 4 points in the quarter. I'm going to criticize Tibbs for his bench uses again. Like the Knicks, it was the Knicks lead. It was the Knicks starters who blew the lead we had a 13-point lead at halftime. They blew the lead. Went to nobody for the bench. No, see that this is the thing. If you see a whole Tibbs coaches by positions, he does not coach by units. This is why, look, if we don't give the Celtics a series, there's no way you can justify bringing them back. It's just not. It's not that he's a bad coach. It's not that he is not but the thing is we're gonna be at this level. We've plateaued under Tibbs. If Tibbs is not going to adjust his style, because he coaches by position and he doesn't coach by unit. And if you see that a unit is -8 in a situation like that, where you have to at least maintain the lead. See, you can't have Detroit starters be 8 points better than us for half a quarter in a pivotal game like that and do nothing about it. Like, at that point, maybe they needed a Mitch. Maybe you needed to bring in Deuce for 2 guards. Maybe you needed to bring in Payne because he's been more hot than Deuce consistently over the series. I understand that Deuce will give you better defense. Deuce has made a couple big shots. Last 2 games, he's been cold. If we get up typical bench, if we just get to 10 points a game out of Deuce for the bench, these games play out a lot different. See, this is the thing. Tibbs, he just does not. He coaches to a pregame strategy. He does not coach to what's going in the game. Again, there's people that know coaching and stuff like that way better than me. But this is my casual observation. They went to a timeout at 5:51. He brings the same 5 starters out there. So my thing is, like, I don't think that any other. I'm not trying to blame any other particular guy, but the unit was getting outworked. The unit itself was getting outworked. There was second chance points. There were things like that. They let guys get hot. You bring in something different. You coach by position. If it's 4 minutes, I'm going to give this guy rest. See, he coaches this high school style where my 5 best players, or this college style, where I'm playing, and that's the thing. Maybe he needs to go back. Maybe he needs to go and be a college coach at this point. Go, if you have the coaching gene, but the NBA is not like that no more. You have a 15-man roster for a reason. It's not just for depth. If I can get 11 working bodies for OKC, and they come back on, they come back from a 29%, and again, I know John Morant being hurt probably aided that, but if they can come back there from 29 down and take a 3-0, tight hold on the lead, or chokehold on the lead on the series, that goes to show you. Those are the type of coaches we need. We don't need Thibodeau coaching this archaic style. This is not college basketball. See, for you Knicks fans who think that Tibbs run players into the ground, I don't believe in that. I don't believe that. It's not about running them to the ground. He wants his best players in there in the most crucial minutes. But my thing is, if you have a 15-man roster, you got guys like DeLon Wright sitting there, you got guys like Precious Achiuwa. Like, Precious Achiuwa not getting a minute in this series, it's just, I don't understand. And I understand it's been down to the wire. But Precious Achiuwa could have stole you 5 or 6, 7 minutes. Just on the rebound, just on the defense. You got a bigger guy that can bother Cade as he gets to the basket. I just don't get it. You can give, and it's time that they end the game. So this will contradict what I just said, but it's time where OG, and he's matching OG and Cade minute for minute. So when Cade comes out of the game, there's OG. But you can't tell me that you don't think Precious Achiuwa deserves about 5 minutes just to give OG a blow, just so OG is that much more less winded coming down the end of these games. If Cade's gonna play 42, it looks like OG's gonna play 42. But it's again, we have a 15-man roster. We have rookies, and this is the thing, right? These rookies, they got to develop. They got to get 10, 15 minutes a night, like everybody else's rookies. if the 52nd pick in the draft, Quentin Post can play big minutes for Golden State, a team that a lot of people like to do something. Why can't any of our rookies get any minutes during a regular season, during a game against Charlotte, just to see what you got, just to see if you can use it? I mean, that's the thing, So that, again, there's no way that anybody could justify bringing. And again, this is not to say Tibbs has not done a great job, but a couple of bounces here and there. Seemed like the one thing too is when we can say with the negative, it seemed like Detroit was getting to every loose ball for most of the game. And then I think the Knicks kind of ratcheted up that hustle in the fourth quarter, right? They ratcheted up that hustle in the fourth quarter. They got the lead back. They got the help. They got a comfortable lead. Again, it was a 2-point game at the end. We missed a free throw here before we missed one. I think we missed one free throw in the sequence. Like Jalen Brunson was the guy that missed the free throw. The second free throw he missed it on purpose to run the clock, for the clock to be run out. And Detroit's clock operator tried to give him try to pull a fast one and ran the clock when nobody touched the rock. I don't know if that was Detroit's strategy to let the rebound go down like that, or I don't know. I don't know what happened. But, those things right there. Again, like I said, with Thibodeau, we won the game. His pregame strategy was good. Again, you just have to be a better in-game coach. You have to be running timeouts when they cut the lead from 13 to 4. You call a timeout, and then you come out and you get 2 possessions before you score. You're supposed to score at least 60% of the time coming out of timeouts, because I just listen. I know Jalen Brunson has to take some part, and he was pretty solid. He was pretty solid getting the rock around. He had 9 assists, and he had 9 assists before he got to his 30 points. Right, so 33.7 points a game. I am not kidding. And I noticed if the shooting splits, if he gets back to the shooting splits, and the Knicks and the rest of the Knicks, make threes at a high rate, make threes at the rate that we make them. We get our little stuff from Josh Hart again. You got to go. You got to play the 2-man game with Cat. They did that a little bit better today. Again, another coach is going to develop that 2-man game with Cat better. If we're going to pay Cat we're going to pay Cat $50 million a year. Okay, there's no way that Cat should be having scoreless halves in the playoffs. Okay, that's the one thing I've always criticized Cat about. I've never been a fan of him prior to coming to the Knicks. I've always known about his talent, but I've never been a fan of him prior to coming to the Knicks because of that situation, right? The fact that he can go for a guy that talented, a guy that big, a guy that skilled, he can go quarters doing nothing, halves doing nothing. He can get singles in a game. That he should never have another single digit anything. Well, you're not gonna get 10 rebounds every night. That's not fair to ask. But he should never go single. Like 10 points is the minimum. And it shouldn't be 10, especially in a big game like that. I can settle for a 20. I can settle for a 16 in a tough night when you got foul trouble. This is a guy that should be getting 20 points at a minimum. I asked 24 and 10 for the season. He got that. He got the numbers. Every number I asked him to get, he got there except for blocks when he was 0.8 instead of 1.0. Again, just more. The block is negligible if you gave me more solid rim protection. And to his credit, he's come up with some big blocks in this series, right? He's come up with some big blocks, solid rim protection. Again, I need a coach that understands the defense that Tibbs has philosophized, but his in-game coaching and his offensive strategy has to be superior for the Knicks. Because, again, I'm going to look to a Cleveland. There's no way that Cleveland is more talented than us, but they were a better team than us because they're coached better. Kenny Atkinson, again, who I think should probably win Coach of the Year over JB Bigstaff by a very small margin. That's my prediction, and I think he would have my vote. I would consider JB, especially turning a 14 win team to a 44 win team. Maybe if they'd have got the 4 seed, I'd have been more in a Bigstaff corner. But he's won Coach of the Year before. Great job. But this is where we're missing. This is the thing we're missing. Not that Tibbs is a bad coach. Tibbs is a good coach. Tibbs was a guy that we needed to turn the culture around. But now we have to go to another level. We have to get, if I got to argue with people about the Knicks not being respected or not being true contenders, well, this is the reason. It's not the roster. The roster's there. You got guys who are rookies who, again, highly touted, Kyle Kolik was highly touted. You got to develop these guys. These guys should be giving you 15, 20 minutes here, especially in certain games. And again, you might just find Tibbs coaching to position and not unit, and not figuring out this unit. See, everybody's doing units now. Again, that's the analytics of the game, and I get it. For guys who just don't. I'm not a guy who buys into analytics like the Bible, but I do see the usage. See, don't call me a hypocrite because I don't like analytics, but I do see its value. I do see its uses. The problem is when you live by, you can't be like Tibbs and play by position, play the games by position. Because again, if you're on his, you wonder why a PJ Tucker can get 26 minutes at the end of the season, and then he doesn't play again. Then he plays the last game of the season, right? Because Tibbs will coach by power forward 1, power forward 2, power forward 3. And he doesn't coach by, hey, let me get this guy. So he coaches by an old school depth chart where you're center 1, you're center 2. So you're gonna come in at center and see. So Carl Town was his power forward 2. So he'll buy some minutes moving Carl Town. There's only one. I think OG might play 2 positions. He might have McCall at 2 positions. That's it. Josh Hart is going to be his utility guy. Jalen Brunson is going to be his point guard. See, a good coach will be finding ways to use the backup center along with Brunson in certain instances. Now, I get it. It's a defensive liability, but you might need an offensive boost right there. You might, again, even at the end of, the Knicks had a hard, we should have gotten a violation on that inbound. That should have been a backcourt violation. The fact that Jalen Brunson didn't fully possess the ball, I guess that's why. Like, he didn't fully have possession. He kind of tapped it and then tapped it to himself. I would have called it. Again, I don't know what the technical rule. The NBA does let you get away with a lot of things. But we should, again, I'm going to call this to tell you I'm objective as well. I'm going to call it what it is. Jalen Brunson, that was a backcourt violation. And again, this goes to show you, we can't run simple inbound plays at the end of games. It's unacceptable, man. And I've always said, bring in more. I was on live stream last night when I was watching these plays. Bring in multiple guards. You're in a position where you just have to inbound the ball and get fouled. You should be bringing in your guards. Whatever guard gets fouled, you trying to get the ball to your 80% free throw shooter who are guards. Because they break off the ball quicker. They're harder they have more foot speed. Therefore, they're harder once you got that stack and everybody breaks out. They're harder it's just, I don't understand why they're not practicing inbounds. Because 6 years into Thibodeau's coaching, 5 years. This is the 5th year here, and we still have trouble inbounding the ball at the end of games. It's unacceptable, man. It really is. That could have blown the game. What are we seeing here? What are we talking about here if they called that backcourt violation? All right, so for all of those who cry and say, I'm not objective, That was a backcourt violation. I said it live when I saw it. I was on stream last night when I saw it. So these little things, again, and so now again, here's the optimist part. Because I've been criticizing for about 20 minutes now. But here's the optimist part. If Carl Towns plays, he's clearly the third best player in the series. He might even be the second best. Cade has not been that great. The turnovers are, the best player in the series so far has been Brunson. Like, the numbers just show it. He's at 2.7 turnovers a game. He's at 7, about 7, I won't say assists a game. Cade Cunningham is showing you his weakness is the turnovers. Now, again, Cade could come out and have a monster game 4 and give them the game, but if Karl-Anthony Towns can counter with a monster, as well as the garden variety 33.7 that Jalen Brunson has been averaging, and then you get big games from OG and you get big games from Bridges, and you get Josh Hart just doing what Josh Hart does, scrambling for loose balls, getting 9 assists like that, the Knicks will win. The Knicks will go back home with a 3.31 deficit. And again, you talking about guys like last night, Tim Hardaway Jr. Yeah, and I have a guy goes from 0 points to 24 points, makes 7 threes. All right? Dennis Schroeder has been an X factor for them. Dennis Schroeder is their second leading scorer. Again, coming into the series, I asked you, who was the number 2 guy? If the number 2 guy is Cade's backup, Houston, we have issues. Again, Jalen Duren and obviously provide solid loose ball, getting the loose balls and defense, but they get in foul trouble. They're overzealous. The Knicks know how to get them into foul situations. You know what I'm saying? So, there we have it.
Somebody's in the bathroom.